He texted me 3 sentences, each word felt like a knife straight to my chest. A good husband doesn't vanish into the rain. A loving father doesn't drain our entire savings and say, "Good luck." But that's exactly what Aaron Monroe did. He didn't just leave me. He destroyed my daughters and my life with a single message. Rain poured down like a waterfall over the parking lot of Little Pines Preschool in Denver that afternoon. I sat in the car, both hands clenched. On the freezing steering wheel, wind howling past the windows as the wipers swiped frantically like they were trying to erase the disaster about to strike. My phone lit up in the cup holder, buzzing repeatedly. I thought it was a reminder to grab milk for Lily, like always. But it wasn't. When I read the message on the screen, time froze. Heading to San Diego with Vanessa. Moved the savings. Good luck. It felt like someone had punched me in the chest. My eyes widened and my hands trembled uncontrollably. This couldn't be real. Vanessa, Aaron's new assistant. I had seen them laughing a little too closely at the company party, but when I asked, Aaron just laughed and called me ridiculously jealous. I'm Rachel Monroe, 35, an interior designer who works from home, so I can take care of our daughter's 6-year-old Lily. My little family used to be my biggest pride, but in a matter of seconds, everything shattered. Aaron didn't just walk. Out he took every cent of the $17,800 we'd spent years saving to buy a home. The joint account had only $370 left, while our Capitol Hill apartment rent was $2,200 and due in just 5 days. I forced myself to take a deep breath and stay calm. Inside the classroom, Lily was waiting, probably hugging her favorite fox-shaped backpack, looking for me like she did every afternoon. I stepped out into the rain, soaked within seconds, and ran into the building filled with the smell of crayons and cookies. Mommy, did you bring popcorn snacks? Lily ran up and hugged my leg, her big brown eyes full of hope. I knelt down, forcing a smile onto a face ready to break. Not today, sweetheart. But we'll pick something else up on the way home. Okay? I signed the checkout sheet, my hand still trembling. The noise around me faded into a hum. In my head, that short text repeated like a curse. Aaron, the man I had loved for nearly 10 years, had wiped out our entire life like it was just a failed sketch. On the way home, Lily sang songs about rainbows and birds. I glanced at her in the rearview mirror. She asked, innocently, "Is Daddy making pasta tonight, Mommy?" I swallowed hard. The answer came out like an ice-cold stone. "Daddy's on a work trip, honey." "How about pizza with just Mommy tonight?" Lily squealed with excitement, having no idea that dinner would come from the very last dollars in her mother's wallet. I looked out the window at a rain-soaked Denver. My heart raced, not just with anger, but with fear so heavy it nearly crushed me. How was I going to protect my daughter when the whole world around us was falling apart? Back at the apartment, I turned on cartoons for Lily and grabbed my phone to call the bank. The conversation confirmed my worst fear. Aaron had transferred all the money into an account in his name. And since it was a joint account, the bank couldn't intervene. I sat frozen on the couch, Lily giggling at the TV in the background, each laugh cutting into me like a blade. Aaron didn't just leave. He planned this. That night, once Lily was asleep, I sat alone on the cold kitchen floor, eyes locked on my laptop screen. Every click tightened the knot in my chest. Savings account, $0. Checking, $370. Rent due, 5 days. Phone, electricity, water, food. I didn't know which to prioritize. I checked the email account again for confirmation. Aaron's last login to the bank was 3 days ago at 2 a.m. He hadn't just transferred the money, he had changed the password. No discussion, no warning, not even a cent left for Lily. Nothing. My heart ached with pressure. And then, I noticed something odd. When I logged into Aaron's old Google account, the one he'd forgotten to log out of on the home laptop, I saw a new folder on Drive. A PDF file, titled, Recommendation Letter, HG Consulting San Diego. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. A recommendation letter, dated 2 weeks ago, from his former employer referring him to a major consulting firm in California. 2 weeks ago. He had been planning this for a while I was still putting together Lily's birthday menu. I sat there for a long time, laptop on my knees, numb and furious. Questions began to swirl. When did he start preparing all this? How much did Vanessa know? And how could he leave his wife and daughter with less than $400 to their name? I didn't have time to grieve. I had to act immediately. The next morning, I dropped Lily off at school earlier than usual. On the way, I told her, Mommy's going to be a little late picking you up today, okay? I've got something important to do. Lily nodded, clutching her worn-out teddy bear. Don't forget to get ice cream. I smiled, though I felt hollow. If Mommy does well today, we'll get a whole tub. I drove straight to Aaron's office downtown. Back when he worked there, he used to take me to staff parties. I still remembered the receptionist's face, the elevator, even the smell of strong coffee in the hallway. The receptionist, Molly, a young woman, paused when she saw me walk in. Hi, Mrs. Monroe. Are you here to see Aaron? I nodded, my voice dry. I need to speak with him. It's urgent. Molly hesitated, twisting her pen. He doesn't work here anymore. I froze. Excuse me? Aaron officially left last week. Friday was his last day. I swallowed, my mind spinning. But he was still going to work earlier this week. She avoided my eyes. He submitted his resignation 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say much. 2 weeks. The same time that letter was sent. The same time Aaron started acting distant during dinner. I thanked her and stepped out of the building, heart heavy. I had just confirmed what I didn't want to believe. Aaron didn't leave on a whim. He planned this exit like a financial operation, with a strategy, timing, and an accomplice. Sitting in the car, I pulled out my phone and called the one person I thought might know more, Sam Henderson, Aaron's college best friend. He was the best man at our wedding. Lately, Aaron had been talking to him more than usual. Sam picked up after the second ring. Rachel? His voice was hesitant. You already know, don't you? I didn't bother with pleasantries. A suspicious silence, then Sam sighed. Rachel, he made me promise not to say anything. I laughed bitterly. A promise? While my daughter and I are left with $370. He ran off with Vanessa, emptied our accounts, quit his job, and disappeared. Sam stayed silent. Then he spoke, slowly. He said he needed a fresh start. Vanessa makes him happy, and he thinks you and Lily would be better off without him. I hung up. Better off? Did he actually believe that? Back at the apartment, I walked straight into the small office where Aaron used to keep his desk. I hadn't gone in all week, partly because it was buried in paperwork, partly because I didn't want to face the things he left behind. But now I had no choice. I dug through drawers, files, old bills, and then, beneath a stack of tax documents, I found a thick cream-colored envelope carefully sealed. On the front, it simply said, "To Mom." I opened it. Inside was a pearl-colored birthday card that read, "To the best mom in the world." But it was the handwritten message inside that left me frozen. Mom, thank you for helping us with The down payment on the San Diego apartment. Vanessa and I couldn't have done it without you. Hope you visit soon. Love, Erin. I looked at the date in the corner. 3 months ago. That meant while Aaron was still sleeping next to me every night. Still eating Sunday breakfast with me and Lily. He and his mother Deborah Monroe had already been secretly building a new life with another woman. Felt cold all over. Deborah. She'd never liked me. From the very beginning. When I wore paint-stained jeans to take Lily to the park, she curled her lip and said, "That girl needs a mother who can keep it together, not a part-time artist." Aaron always stayed silent when she made those snide remarks. Now I understood that. Silence wasn't neutrality. It was complicity. I snapped a photo of the card, tucked it carefully back into the envelope, then opened my laptop and logged back into Aaron's email account. I had saved the password on the browser, a habit I was suddenly grateful for. In the drafts folder, I found an unsent email titled, "Custody Proposal." I opened it. Read each line. Then I started to sob. Aaron and Deborah were planning to take custody of Lily. In the plan, they mentioned Rachel's history of postpartum depression, therapy records from 2018, and financial instability. They were going to use the darkest time of my life, the time I couldn't sleep, more than 3 hours a night, when I struggled with guilt over not being able to breastfeed as ammunition. I had overcome it. I got help. I went to therapy. I did everything to become the mother Lily deserved. But to them, it was just legal leverage. And worse, the email had an attachment. A screenshot of a bank account in Nevada under Deborah Monroe's name. Balance. $45,000. I didn't know when the account was created, but the latest transaction note said, "Wire transfer moving support San Diego." Deborah didn't just know. She funded it. I sat there trembling. Not from fear. But for the first time I felt angry. A cold, razor-sharp kind of anger. I picked up my phone. Scrolled through my contacts. Anna Fields, a divorce attorney at college. Friend had recommended. I never thought I'd need one. But I knew I couldn't fight this alone. The call lasted 45 minutes. Anna's voice was calm, firm, and completely non-judgmental. After I told her everything, Aaron leaving, the money, the card, the custody plan, she paused for a moment, then said, "What he's done isn't entirely illegal, but courts don't look kindly on this kind of behavior. With the evidence you have, especially the card and the custody proposal, I think we have a strong case. We'll file a temporary restraining order to prevent him from taking Lily out of state, a motion for emergency support, and if necessary freeze his accounts. But first, I'll need copies of everything, and as much proof of his current income as you can find." I nodded. Tears spilling this time, not from pain, but because I finally didn't feel alone. Just after I hung up, my phone rang again, a call from Eugene, Oregon. My parents. "Are you okay?" My mother's voice was filled with worry. "I'm trying," I said. "We'll cover the rent this month," she said firmly. "Don't argue. We've got a house, a car, a savings account. But you and Lily, you're everything to us." I broke down in tears. 2 days later, while I was sitting in Anna's office signing documents, my phone buzzed. A call from an unknown number in California. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something told me to answer. "Hello?" I said cautiously. A woman's voice came through raspy, a little rushed. "Rachel. It's me. Vanessa." I froze. "Why? Are you calling me?" My voice was ice cold. "Please don't hang up. I'm not calling to apologize or to stir things up. I'm calling because I think you should know some things." I gripped the phone tighter. On the other end, she took a deep breath. Aaron and I broke up. I paused. What? I found out. He didn't just lie to you. He lied to me too. He told me you were spending all his money, that you were addicted to shopping, in debt, depressed, didn't care for your daughter. I was stupid enough to believe it. My heart pounded. I didn't know whether to feel angry, bitter, or just tired. I didn't know he left you and your daughter like that, Vanessa continued, her voice shaking. I only realized when he pressured me to sell my car to help with the apartment deposit. Then when we moved in together, I found a folder. Inside were scans of your old ultrasound reports, therapy records, even a handwritten letter from your mom congratulating you on Lily's birth. Everything labeled, annotated. I felt a chill down my spine. He collected my records? To use in court, to get custody of Lily, she whispered. He called your daughter, the last chain still tying me down. I couldn't speak. I couldn't believe it. When I confronted him, he said, "If you can't handle it, leave." But I'm not leaving anything for that woman. And you left? I walked out yesterday morning. I'm staying with my cousin in Chula Vista right now. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But if you want, I can send you copies of the documents. His current address. Even our recording of the argument we had. I choked up. This was exactly what Anna needed. And whether I liked it or not, Vanessa had just become a crucial piece in turning this case around. I'll send you my lawyer's contact. Give her everything you have. As for me, I paused, then said, I don't forgive you. But, thank you. After the call, I texted Anna and forwarded all the new information. Less than an hour later, she called back, her voice full of energy. Rachel, if what Vanessa provided is real, especially the recording, we can submit it to the court as evidence of Aaron's malicious intent in the custody battle. Malicious intent? Yes, the opposing attorney might try to focus on your past mental health treatment. But if he can prove that Aaron deliberately weaponized your personal records and, more importantly, did it out of revenge and a desire to shirk responsibility, it could backfire on him. I closed my eyes, feeling like a heavy weight had been lifted from my chest. That evening, as I was looking through old photos of Lily, Vanessa's email arrived. Just like she promised, it included an 11-minute audio recording in which Aaron said, I'll make her look like an unfit mother in court. A copy of Aaron's current rental address in San Diego. A receipt for the sale of Vanessa's car, under her name, labeled family support transfer. Something Aaron had pressured her to sign. I forwarded everything to Anna. She called me. That same night, we can request the court freeze his assets and file a motion accusing him of attempting to manipulate evidence and pursue custody unethically. Do you want to proceed? I didn't even hesitate. Do it. I wasn't just fighting for money. I was fighting for dignity, for the truth, and above all, for my daughter. Lily would not grow up thinking her father abandoned her. Especially, not a man who called his own child a chain. I knew the battle wasn't over. But for the first time in weeks, I had something Aaron never thought I'd have. The belief that I could win. The small courtroom in Multnomah County, Oregon, was cold and quiet like a chapel on a Monday morning. I sat at the plaintiff's table, clutching a light blue silk scarf, my birthday gift from my mother last year. Beside me, Anna leaned in and whispered, We're ready. The door across the room opened. Aaron walked in clean-shaven, wearing a neatly pressed white shirt, but he couldn't hide the exhaustion in his eyes. Behind him was his attorney, a short, balding man with a stern expression. He didn't look at me, not even once at Lily, who was sitting quietly beside my mother in the family seating area. Judge Mary Whitaker entered. a silver-haired woman in glasses with a firm voice. She struck the gavel. Case of Monroe versus Monroe custody dispute is now in session. As legal terms were read and papers shuffled, I looked at Aaron and wondered how the man who once held my hand in the delivery room, who once whispered, "We're a family," could now sit there scheming to erase me from our daughter's life. Aaron's attorney opened with a statement. "My client believes the current living situation is not suitable. The respondent has a documented history of severe postpartum depression, which required extended psychiatric care." I had braced for that blow. Anna gave a small nod, "Just wait." Then Anna stood. Her voice was calm, unwavering. "We do not deny that my client sought mental health treatment. That was 4 years ago, and more importantly, she has fully recovered, has not relapsed, is not on medication, and is currently the primary caregiver of Lily in a stable, loving home." On the other hand, Anna turned slightly toward the court. "We have evidence that Mr. Monroe not only intentionally abandoned his responsibilities, but also planned to weaponize outdated personal medical records to discredit the respondent with the sole purpose of securing custody as an act of retaliation." Judge Whitaker raised an eyebrow. "Do you have specific evidence, Ms. Fields?" "Yes, Your Honor," Anna replied, submitting a USB drive containing Vanessa's audio recording. The courtroom fell silent as Aaron's voice played through the speakers. "I'll make her look like an unfit mother in court. If I want to, she doesn't stand a chance. And if I have to, I'll make the kid believe her mom is weak." Across the aisle, Aaron turned pale. His lawyer raised a hand to object, but the judge banged her gavel. Silence. "This is highly relevant evidence," Anna continued. "In addition, the defense has received testimony from a third-party witness, Ms. Vanessa Martin, who previously lived with the plaintiff. She confirms that Mr. Monroe used the respondent's personal records for legal manipulation, not in the child's best interest, but solely to avoid financial responsibility." I looked over at Aaron. For the first time, his eyes met mine, but not with control or confidence. It was the look of someone realizing the game was slipping away. During his testimony, Aaron stood, hands in his pockets, eyes darting. I wanted what's best for my daughter. Rachel hasn't always been stable. I thought maybe I could give Lily a better future. And that future is in San Diego, where you plan to move with your former mistress?" Anna asked plainly. Aaron had no reply. No one said a word. When the judge called a recess to deliberate on a temporary custody ruling, I stepped away from the table and walked toward Lily, who ran straight into my arms. I knelt down and kissed her soft curls. "We're still together, baby girl. Mommy promises." 3 weeks after the hearing, I got a call from Anna's office. "Rachel," she said, her voice calm but serious, "the court will issue the ruling this Friday. Both parties are required to be present." I tightened my grip on the phone. My chest swelled with nerves, dread, and something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. That Friday, I wore a simple navy blue dress. Lily once said it looked like a princess who works in court. She didn't come with me, I'd asked my mom to stay with her and keep her away from the tense atmosphere. When I walked into the courtroom, Aaron was already there. He looked entirely different, unshaven, wrinkled shirt, dark circles under his eyes. As for me, I was calm. I didn't need a win to prove I was right. I only needed the truth to be upheld. Judge Mary Whitaker appeared right on time, holding the ruling printed on yellow legal paper. She began in a slow but clear voice. After reviewing all submitted evidence, including psychological records, both parties' financial situations, and particularly the recordings that establish the plaintiff's improper intentions. Aaron lowered his head. I clenched my hands tightly. The court rules. Full and primary custody is granted to the defendant, Mrs. Rachel Monroe. Mr. Aaron Monroe is barred from filing for custody modification for the next 3 years, unless there is a clear and positive change in his legal and ethical record. A wave of relief spread through the room. I didn't cry. I simply bowed my head, closed my eyes, and felt the weight of a mountain lift off my chest. But the judge wasn't finished. In addition, the court orders the plaintiff to pay all legal fees incurred by the defendant and to attend anger management and supervise parenting classes, should he wish to maintain limited visitation rights. This wasn't just a victory. It was a confirmation that I was never as weak as they thought. As I walked out, Aaron called after me. For the first time in months, he looked at me not as someone he lost to, but as someone he once loved. Rachel. I didn't think it would come to this. I nodded. It's not because I'm smarter than you, Aaron. It's because I didn't give up. You chose to let go. I chose to fight for our daughter. I turned away without looking back. A week later, Lily and I stood outside Portland International Airport. In my hand were 2 plane tickets. I wasn't running. I wasn't getting revenge. I was choosing to start over in the place I had once dreamed of living. Asheville, North Carolina, a quiet little town with maple-covered hills and an elementary school right next to the library. Mom, do they have a park there? Lily asked as the plane began to taxi. Yes, a really big one, I smiled. And they've got that almond ice cream you love. What about Dad? I looked at her gently. Dad will still get to visit you. But you and we're going to live somewhere happier. Somewhere you can be yourself. She smiled and hugged me. I just need you, Mommy. A few months later, on a golden autumn afternoon, I received a package. It was from Vanessa. A handwritten letter, short and simple. I've started over. I'm studying child psychology. I think we all need to heal a part of ourselves. If you ever allow it, I'd like to apologize to Lily someday. But if not, I understand. I set the letter on the table and turned to hug my daughter, who was coloring by the window. I hadn't completely forgiven, but I had let go. Because real strength doesn't come from revenge, it comes from rising up, moving forward, and loving the right way.